Hey, Shalom Israel, it's Captain OC.
Soldier Mordecai.
And today we're doing a 15 minutes with the captains. Today's class is titled The Spiritual Hospital. We're going to go into the aspect showing you that what we do in this truth is very, very similar to how we operate in a hospital, but on a spiritual level. So it'll be a fun class. Let's get started. Let's go to Luke chapter 4 and verse 18.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me,
Uh-huh.
because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the
preach the gospel to the poor. Read.
poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted.
To do what?
To heal the brokenhearted.
So, just like in a hospital, when you go to the hospital, first thing you got to acknowledge about a hospital is that the people inside of the hospital are sick. And they're willing to acknowledge that. Why? Because they go. So our job as the prophets is to heal what?
To heal the brokenhearted.
Uh-huh.
To preach deliverance to the captives.
Uh-huh.
And recovering of sight to the blind.
Uh-huh.
To set at liberty them that are bruised.
Now it said to recover sight to the blind. So we got to give vision to those that don't have it. We got to set people free that are in a state of captivity. So that's one form. Go to Matthew 10 and verse 1. Let's go further into our job as the prophets and how it aligns with the doctors. Read that.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 1.
You're going to read 1, then we're going to jump to verse 5.
And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples,
Uh-huh.
he gave them power against unclean spirits.
He gave them what?
Power against unclean spirits.
So we have power against spirits. Read.
To cast them out.
Uh-huh.
And to heal.
And to what?
And to heal.
Uh-huh.
All manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
So this was originally given to the disciples, which we know we follow those steps today. When you read the book of Acts, it continued up until today. Now, at this time, they had physical power to heal the sick, raise the dead physically. Now we do that on a spiritual aspect, but it leads to physical results. I'll go further into that as the class goes. Jump down to verse 5.
Verse 5. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Uh-huh. Now, what's different about the hospital of the Lord is that it's not for everybody. This ain't like when you go to what's a hospital in Orlando? The regional hospital. Anybody can walk in. You got the St. Jude Hospital. You got the No. The hospital of the Lord has a specific clientele that we deal with. Read that again.
These 12 Jesus sent forth
Uh-huh.
and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles,
Uh-huh.
and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
Read.
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So the job of the spiritual hospital is to serve the children of Israel and nobody else. That's from the words of Christ. That's who we out here for. Read.
And as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand.
And what do?
Heal the sick.
Do what?
Heal the sick.
Heal the sick. Read.
Cleanse the leper.
Uh-huh.
Raise the dead.
We got to raise people from the dead. Read.
Cast out devils.
Uh-huh.
Freely ye have received, freely give.
So that was the occupation that was given to us, the job that was given to us from Christ himself. Now, when you think about a hospital, we got the job, we got the mission. Now, when you set it up, you need to have a building. But before you have the building, you need to have actual workers, the employees. So the reason why you go to the hospital is because you're going to have professionals. You're going to have what? Doctors. So let's see, who are the doctors in this spiritual hospital? Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 2 and verse 44. Who are the professionals that are treating the people? Read that.
The book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 44.
Uh-huh.
But they, supposing him to have been in the company, went a day's journey.
Uh-huh.
And they sought him among their kinsfolk and acquaintance.
So when Christ and his family went up to keep the feast of Passover, Christ went missing. Read.
And when they found him not,
Uh-huh.
they turned back again to Jerusalem seeking him.
So they realized he was missing. They went back to Jerusalem to find him. Listen to what they say. Read.
And it came to pass that after 3 days, they found him in the temple.
They found him in the temple. Read.
Sitting in the midst of the doctors.
Sitting what?
Sitting in the midst of the doctors.
Sitting in the midst of the doctors. That's what the Bible, and that's what they call us. Those that are learned and studied in the scriptures, you are called a doctor of the scriptures. Read.
Both hearing them and asking them questions.
Both hearing them and asking them questions. So who are the doctors? Those that are studied in the laws of God. Go to Acts 5 and 34. Acts chapter 5 and verse 34. So we are the doctors of the law. We are able to give that healing. We're able to give the sight to the blind. We're able to cast out devils. We're able to raise the dead with the scriptures. Read that.
The book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 34. Then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee.
A Pharisee, read.
Named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law.
A what?
A doctor of the law.
A doctor of the law. Read.
Had in reputation among the people, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space.
So that's another example of our forefathers being called a what? A doctor. A doctor in the law. So you might say, well, all the doctors I know, they got a PhD. They went to this school or that school. They have this qualification, that What are the qualifications that make us doctors in this spiritual hospital? At least in IUIC. 1 Timothy chapter 3 in verse 2. What are the qualifications for you to have the title of being a doctor, of being a soldier, of being a officer, of being a captain, a deacon, a bishop? What are the qualifications? What do you go through? Read that. Start at verse 2.
1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 2. A bishop then must be blameless.
A bishop means a leader. Read.
Then must be blameless, the husband of one wife.
If you have a wife, you only can have one according to the scriptures. Read.
Vigilant.
Vigilant.
Sober.
Not being a drunkard. Read.
Sober. Of good behavior. Given to hospitality. Apt to teach.
Apt to teach, meaning you're willing and able to teach. Read.
Not given to much, not given to wine. No striker.
No striker. Read.
Not greedy of filthy lucre. But patient. Not a brawler. Not covetous.
So these are the attributes that you have to line up to be able to be called a doctor. Keep reading.
One that ruleth well in his own house. Having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?
So these are the qualifications that the men in IUIC, before they are labeled a doctor, for them to keep their license to continue to practice, they have to line up to all the attributes that are listed here. That's the bar exam amongst the nation of Israel. From there, go to Jeremiah 3 and 15. Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 15. We're going to further prove to you that we are indeed the doctors that the Lord set up to heal the nation of Israel. Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 15.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
So the Lord said he's going to give you pastors according to his heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. What is the knowledge and understanding that hasn't been given? We're going to show you. Go to the book of Lamentations, chapter 2, and verse 13. The knowledge and understanding that has not been given to our people, and the reason why we're in this dead state, is the understanding of God's laws, statutes, and commandments. The understanding of who we are as a nation of people has not been taught, which is why we are a dead nation. We are a sick nation. As it says in Isaiah chapter 1, it says, from the head to the toes of our feet, we are full of sores because of sin. Lamentations 2, read that.
Lamentations chapter 2, verse 13. What thing shall I take to witness for thee? What thing shall I liken to thee? O daughter of Jerusalem. What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great like the sea. Who can heal thee?
Who can heal this nation? What doctor out there can solve the problems that are plaguing our communities? Who can go against homosexuality? Who can go against women pastors? Who can go against the prison, the pipeline system? Who can go against these things? Crack in the community, drug dealing, all of the different problems that are plaguing. Who can solve it? Read.
Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things.
Now,
for thee.
the doctors that we've had for the last 100 odd years, they have what?
Have seen vain and foolish things for thee. And they have not discovered thine iniquity.
That's the key part. The doctors that we had in the past, they gave us placebos. They never diagnosed the problem. When you go into a true doctor's office, the first thing they're going to say is, why are we in the condition that we're in? Why do you have high blood pressure? What's your diet? Why is your head hurting? What do you eat? Well, what's your work schedule like? They figure out what happened. But the reason why the doctors of the law, the pastors that we have today cannot give us solutions is because they do not want to address the reason that we have the problems that we have. They shy away from the 300, 400 years of hard bondage that we went through. If you ignore that, you can never come to any problems in our community. That's like seeing a man 400 pounds and you never ask him what he ate before he got there. You got to ask him what are you consuming to get like that? You got to figure it out. Read.
To turn away captivity.
Read it again from the top.
Lamentation chapter 2, verse 14.
Yep.
Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee. And they have not discovered thine iniquity.
They did not do a proper checkup. They have not discovered the iniquity of our people. Read.
To turn away thy captivity.
And that is how they turn away the sickness in our community. That is how we get the people out of the hospital and have good health. That is how you turn away the captivity. You have to figure out what's causing the sickness. Read.
But have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment.
False burdens and causes of banishment. Job 13:4. We're going to further prove that the individuals that we've been going through, the doctors that you've been going to, they do not have any solutions for the problems in our community. Job 13:4. Read that.
The book of Job, chapter 13, verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies.
Ye are what?
Ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no
You
value.
are physicians of no value. That's what God says about the doctors of the law that we go to right now. Your pastors, your preachers. They are physicians of no value. They're giving you placebo drugs, sugar treats. From there. So, how do we identify the problem? Why are you in the hospital? That's what you got to understand. Why are you in the spiritual hospital looking for help? You go from the Baptist church to the Methodist church to the apologetic church, whatever. You all over the place. Sirach 38:15. This is what your pastor won't tell you. This is why you are lost in the sauce and all over the place. It's one word, sin. Let's read it.
The book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 15.
Now this is physically and spiritually. Read.
He that sinneth before his maker, let him fall into the hand of the physician. Now,
when you physically sin, you find yourself before a real doctor, meaning a medical practicing doctor. You eat too much pork, you got diabetes. You eat too much sugar, you got diabetes. You eat too much, you're overweight. You find yourself obese. You're sitting before the doctor. If you're in the midst of sin, you're in the midst of adultery, you're in the midst of fornication, you find yourself before the spiritual doctors. Now you got judgment. You don't know how to take care of your household because you're not a man. You're not applying the commandments. It goes both ways. In your spiritual life and in your physical life, when you're in the midst of sin, you find yourself before the doctors. Read that again.
Sirach, chapter 38, verse 15. He that sinneth before his maker, let him fall into the hand of the physician.
Let him fall into the hand of the physician. Now, just like when you go to the doctor, when you go before the doctor, if you're honest in your actions, he can give you solutions. But if you don't, he can never solve the problems that you're going through. You'll find yourself right back before the doctor again. Let's prove that. Proverbs 28 and verse 13. We almost done. Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 13. We're going through the basics of the interaction between the doctor and the patient. You find yourself before the spiritual doctors, they're going to ask you a series of questions. If you're honest, you can get the solution. If you're not, you will find yourself in the same condition years later. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 28, verse 13.
Uh-huh.
He that covereth his sins.
He that what?
He that covereth his sins shall not prosper.
If you covering up what you're doing, you will never prosper. Likewise, doctor said, hey, you need to stop eating A, B, C, D. And you just eat it late nights, and when you come back to the, well, I don't know why this is going on. You know exactly why it's going on. Because you're not following the plan that was laid out for you. Read.
But whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy.
But when you confess and forsake the issues that you're having, that is how you get the solutions to your problems. If you're a single-parent household, you're a single mom, you come before the priest. You come before the pastors. You say, I don't know why I keep having children. Pastor, hey, you need to get married. That's the solution. You get married, you stop having children. You got a father. But if you cover your sins, you say, no, I don't want to listen to that. You keep sleeping around, the same thing's going to keep happening. It's a very, very simple process. So what is the solution? What is the Tylenol that God gave us? Because you know Tylenol solve all problems. You can have any problem in the world, you give a little Tylenol and you're good. The Bible got something like that as well. Psalms 107 and verse 20. Let's see. What is the solution for the problems that are plaguing our community? When you come into the hospital, what is the physician going to prescribe for you? Read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 107, verse 20.
Uh-huh.
He sent his word.
He sent what?
He sent his word.
He sent his word. Read.
And healed them.
And healed them. Read.
And delivered them from their destruction.
The word of God is what our people need. The song, the dance, the long speeches, all of that is done for. It's high time for our people to come back to the words of God because that's what's going to solve the issues that are plaguing our communities. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16 and verse 12. Last scripture. And we're going to go deeper into this on a later topic. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16 and verse 12. Read that.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, verse 12.
Uh-huh.
For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health.
So it wasn't the physical things that's going to restore our nation back to where it needs to be. Read.
But thy word.
But what?
But thy word, O Lord.
Which what?
Which healeth all things.
Which what?
Which healeth all things.
So if you want healing according to the Bible, you must come back to the law, statutes, and commandments and the faith of Christ to get the healing that is needed amongst the nation of Israel. With that, we say shalom.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.